Shalom, giving all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rahahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations as always to the elect. And I wanted to play an excerpt from this live feed done by Vocab Malone. All right, and Eve. All right, there you go. Stockton and Malone is at it again. As they're addressing this Buffalo so-called mass shooting. All right, where when you read in this guy's manifesto, all right, he says he doesn't identify as a Christian, but he does believe in some Christian principles. And what he means by that, all right, is when you go historically in America, you know, the mass majority of domestic terrorist acts have been performed, all right, by so-called white Christians. Okay. Even your own, FBI admits that, the biggest threat, all right, of domestic terrorism, all right, are white supremacist groups. And they just so happen to always fall under the category of Christianity. And I'm going to go into an article, to pinpoint that mindset and ideology historically. All right. From Columbus and his cohorts. All right. Till now, it has been Edomite Christians. All right. Who have been at the forefront of rape, robbing, murdering, destruction. All right. And now that this so-called Buffalo shooter does say he agrees with that mindset, because we'll show you where that mindset comes from. All right. The so-called, white replacement theory where, the white Christian male are complaining and pissed off. All right. That they're being undermined. The small hat, the blacks, the Hispanics and so forth, are outnumbering them, and this world is all against them. So they react with violence. All right. The Ku Klux Klan are rooted in Christianity. All right. Now I'm going to play this hypocrisy. All right. Because anytime someone pops up who may, say something that's similar or along the lines, or maybe they like the Hebrew Israelite video and they go out and do some evil and wickedness, this guy hops all over it. He hops all over it and he tries to push what these individuals do and their behavior on all Israelites. As we're out, we're teaching, we're not here to take vengeance upon Esau. We've been out teaching, our apostles and elders, for 30 plus years, and so forth, all the way up to now. We've been teaching this word. We're not out there attacking Edomites. All right. We haven't tried to take down Babylon the Great with the sword. All right. Yet, if someone pops up, okay, and they may have a beard, or you may go to their social media and they can just say shalom. All of a sudden, they're just Israelites. Okay. They're Israelites. All right. They're not a part of any camps, or they may have been in a camp before and got kicked out, and they do something crazy. Then all of a sudden, this represents the mindset of all Hebrew Israelites and Hebrew Israelism. That's Vocab's stance. But this guy who just shot up a supermarket, so-called, right? Let's listen to this and I'll show you what I mean.
He asked the question, are you a Christian? No. Okay? Are you a Christian? He asks himself. Himself answers, no. I do not ask God for salvation by faith, nor do I confess my sins in him. I personally believe there is no afterlife. I do, however, believe in and practice many Christian values.
He does, however, believe and practice many Christian values, and that's where the white supremacist mindset is rooted in. All right? Let's keep listening. How they try to separate his actions from them.
You want to comment on the Christian values part? Yeah, you definitely don't. You definitely don't practice "thou shalt not murder." So there's that. Yeah, it's like. And you definitely don't practice loving your neighbor as yourself. There's that as well. And the very end of this, I don't know if you saw it.
So they're able to just separate and say, well, that has nothing to do with the Christianity we believe in, because in the Bible it says love your neighbor as yourself, which those are laws, which Christians always tell you you don't have to keep the laws. All right. But as you can see, and we'll play a little bit more, we'll play some more in a minute, but you can see they're able to just say, well, that has nothing to do with us, when historically it has been Edomite Christians. Although this guy says he doesn't practice, he doesn't, label himself a Christian. He believes in Christianity and the principles of Christianity. And see, they're trying to sidestep around that. What does that mean? Let's bring up this article real quick. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. All right. Yale sociologist Phil Gorski on the threat of white Christian nationalism, which has plagued the Americas. Okay, America is rooted, okay, in Edomite supremacy, all right, upon the principle of Christianity. Christianity is rooted in Edomite supremacy. They go hand in hand. You see? And when these Edomites got us in captivity, okay, they pushed that plantation Christianity upon us. And see, now that the Israelites are waking up in these latter days, all right, these Edomites are pissed off. They don't want to see us come out of that docile, dumbed down mindset. So what they're saying is, oh, these guys are the terrorists. No, you and what you believe in is rooted in terrorism. Now, let's go to a point in this article. It says, let's see here. The flag and the cross, white Christian nationalism and threat to Christian democracy, yada, yada, yada. I'll just start here. What is white Christian nationalism? Okay. First, it's an ideology based on a story about America that developed over 3 centuries. It reveres the myth that the country was founded as a Christian nation by white Christians, and it was, right? All right, because they stole it from the Native Americans under laws passed like the Doctrine of Discovery, where they would go to these particular places that were inhabited by our people, the Israelites, okay, so-called Native Americans. And what did they do? They said, well, they passed laws and legislation. The Christians did this, the Doctrine of Discovery, to where they can label the natives that were there, okay, as non-human. All right. So then that would give them the go ahead to say, we discovered this island. And they would kill off the people as if they were cattle. They're not humans, they're cattle. So humans weren't here, right? Beasts were here. There's just these natives, they're just beasts. They're not human beings. All right. So therefore we discovered it. The Doctrine of Discovery. Right. And you Edomites really believe that somehow, some way, this is not going to be addressed by the Most High, because this is what Vocab Malone's belief system is rooted in. Okay. It says, it reveres the myth that the country was founded as a Christian nation by white Christians, and its laws and institutions are based on Protestant Christianity. You see, you have the Protestant movement where they so-called uprooted from the Catholic Church, all right, and they don't believe in the idol worship of the Catholics, and they believe in this and this and that. So they separated themselves from the Catholic Church. That's the Protestant movement. Okay, which the Catholic Church is the father or mother of your modern day Christianity. They all come out of the Catholic Church. All right. Yeah, they do have particular differences in teachings, as you know, guys like Vocab, they don't worship Mary and things like that. But really they do. At the end of the day, when you go into what they teach and their doctrine concerning the virgin birth and all of that. Anyway, the Protestant Christian were supposedly separate from the Catholics. It says white Christian nationalists believe that the country is divinely favored, all right, and has been given the mission to spread religion, freedom, and civilization. All right. They see this mission and values. They see this mission and the values they cherish as under threat from the growing presence of non-whites, non-Christians, immigrants in the United States. See, that's what that guy is saying. I don't consider myself a Christian. All right, let's go back to the video. Let's listen again.
He asked the question, are you a Christian? No. Okay? Are you a Christian? He asks himself. Himself answers, no. I do not ask God for salvation by faith, nor do I confess my sins in him. I personally believe there is no afterlife. I do, however, believe in and practice many Christian values.
He does, however, believe and practice many Christian values. Thus, you go and shoot up a supermarket where blacks are and you put on the gun, this is your reparations. Okay? Let's read this again. They see this mission and the values they cherish as under threat from the growing presence of non-whites, non-Christians, immigrants in the United States. So if you look at the history of the United States, the biggest terrorists have always been and will always be until it's destroyed, okay, Edomite supremacists who consider themselves Christians. Right? They even have a doctrine that the American Christian is Jacob, the American Edomite Christian is Jacob, and the small hat over in Israel are Esau. That's a doctrine. Okay? That's a doctrine. All right? And see, all of these terrorist attacks, see, these Edomite Christian terrorists have never really been labeled domestic terrorists until recent. They started to try to call out, you know, Edomite nationalism, so-called white nationalist Christian terrorist, because now they see the Israelites waking up. So what they want to do is they want to link the behaviors of these past terrorist activities to the Israelites who are preaching and prophesying throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, specifically here in America, they want to link their actions to us. They're going to say we have to stop all racial superiority groups, which so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans do not go around the earth using their racial superiority as a means to conquer and destroy. Edomites do that. So-called white people have done that and continue to do it. The biggest threat to humanity is Edomite supremacy. Okay? It says, because what do they run the banks, they run the food. Okay, and right now, all right, they're manufacturing a food shortage. That's the true supremacists, the ones who can control what goes where, how much can go where, what can't go where, what can go in the music, what stores go in what particular neighborhood, the quality of food. That's the true supremacists we need to be worried about at the end of the day. All right, but they do have a mindset that trickles down to even these lower level Edomites that they're superior and they hate you because ultimately it's Jacob versus Esau. All right, it says, let me keep reading. This is one point at which white Christian nationalism overlaps with the Make America Great Again narrative. You see, And that's why a lot of these Edomites rallied behind Trump. All right. Really, in the years, leading up to Trump, that Edomite pride had been beat down. They were beaten down. They were getting called out. They were scared to, be proud of their history. They were, getting cursed. The Israelites were cursing them out. All types of things were coming out about them. Okay. And they were through. They no longer wanted to boast in the Greco-Roman empires because we linked them to Edomites. Okay. So Trump came as this new figurehead for Edomite supremacists, not to be ashamed of their past and their history and who they are. Okay? It says, this is the point at which white Christian nationalism overlaps with the Make America Great Again narrative. And how was America made great? Rape, robbery, murder, slavery. Okay? If we were to press rewind or go into another lifetime and put Vocab Malone and this so-called black woman who he is with in this video together, okay, what do you think Vocab and his people will be doing to her? Absolutely. Okay, we know the history. But see, these Edomites try to, put themselves in, as if they're these, like Christianity in the Americas is just rooted in love. And niggas fall for it. Anyway, it says it's the view that somebody has corrupted the country or is trying to take it away. White Christian nationalists want to take it back. So that's the ideology that guy who so-called shot up that store with those black women and men there. That's the part of Christianity he does believe in. But see, they're not going to sit there and dissect that. See, we can't go to these acts of domestic terrorism performed by Edomite Christians historically and present and say, look, Christianity is dangerous. Okay? White Israelism is dangerous, right? We can't do that. But any nigga who pops up and does something, Vocab Malone is jumping on it, trying to link it to the whole belief of the Hebrew Israelites. This is what we do. Right? Anyway, and we're telling you when Yahushua returns, that's when you're going to go down. Okay? But we ourselves teach that we are not going to take you down by force on our own, and we're not here to harm any of you Edomites. Live it up. See, it's the words we're speaking that really is getting to you Edomites. So you have to link it with carnality. You have to link it with terrorism so that you can make yourself feel better at night. And our own people help you. All right? But there's only so much longer you're going to be able to run with these narratives. It's not going to work. Yeah, there's going to be a point where you feel like you got us. The persecution is going to rise, brothers and you few sisters. All right? It's going to rise. All right? But do not let these people scare you into believing what we're teaching and the truth of the Bible is wrong. No, they're wrong. You don't see any of these people standing. You don't see any of these Christians standing up against the evil and wickedness that's going on in this world and that's being perpetuated in Satanism being set up right in front of them. They don't have nothing to say about that. Eve and Esau do not want the second Adam to raise. That's all. They don't want the men of the Lord to be right. Since the garden, they've been together, all right, trying to restrict Adam from getting to his glory. That was the whole plan in the first place. And Eve was tricked into believing and allowing herself to be used as a tool, all right, to destroy her own nation. But that's all right. All of you are going to lose. All right? All of you are going to lose. Those of you who ain't right. All right? Anyway, what are the roots of today's white Christian nationalism? By digging into the historical source materials, you can see this perspective okay, taking shape in the 1690s, which is the title of one of the book's chapters. In a way, you can trace it back even further, or it goes back to ultimately the Renaissance period going forward. Christopher Columbus, okay, these Edomites, all right, it's really Edomite nationalism at the end of the day, all right. And it goes back to Jacob and Esau at the end of the day. It says, which is the title of one of the book chapters. In a way, you can trace it back even further because the idea of a white Christian nation does have roots in a certain understanding of the Bible that weaves three old stories into a new story. One is the idea of a promised land. God bestows a promised land on the Israelites. They go to that land and find the Amalekites inhabiting it. It goes back to the story at the time of Joshua and Caleb. All right. They conquered the land. This is how a lot of the early settlers of New England and many of the Puritans, you know who the Puritans are? Okay, understood their situation. The Puritans, they were Christians. What did they do? Rape, robbed, and murdered. What did the British do? Rape, robbed, and murdered. Using pseudoscience to justify their actions, but then somehow, some way, they're Christians. Okay? It says they conquered the land. This is how a lot of the settlers in New England and many of the Puritan understood their situation. All right? Quite literally, they saw themselves like the Israelites as a chosen people. Okay? North America was the promised land, and the Native Americans were the new Amalekites, and the Puritans felt entitled to take their land, right? This is what Christianity is rooted in here in America. This is what they did, all right? Another strand is the end time story, which today is viewed as the second coming of Jesus. In the most literal sense, it's a belief that Jesus is coming down to earth for a final showdown between good and evil, and the Christians in America, in particular the white ones, will be on the side of good. These two stories describe Christian nationalism and white Christian nationalism. Whiteness came into play when some white Americans tried to develop a justification for slavery. Okay? The traditional justification for slavery, theologically speaking, had been that heathens and captives of war could be enslaved. All right. And in some cases, they would say we're not even human. All right. It says initially, this is how slavery in America was justified. But a couple of generations later, the justification didn't really work. You can't argue that a young boy of African descent born in Virginia colony in 1690 was a captive of war. His mother might have converted to Christianity. And that's what they did. They went throughout the four corners of the earth, forcing people with the sword to bow to Christianity, which at the end of the day was bowing to them, their image, white supremacy. This is what today's Christianity is rooted in. This is what we've been trying to tell you. Okay? It says a new justification had been embedded in the culture, which gave rise to the notorious idea of the curse of Ham. All right. Then they tried to use pseudoscience to say you're Africans. Okay? Because Ham had seen his father Noah drunk and naked, God placed a mark on Ham's son Canaan and condemned his offspring to slavery. And that was fulfilled in the book of Deuteronomy. Okay? It says, God placed a, yada, yada. Christians use this to justify enslaving people of African descent. You see that? This is what Christians did. So this guy who went and shot up this store where Jake was at, when we say Jake, we're talking about Jacob, the Israelites. He doesn't say he's a Christian, but he does believe in the mindset, all right, of Christianity, Edomite supremacy. He does believe in those principles, but they didn't want to touch on that. But we'll listen to a little bit more of their video And I'll get a scripture too and close it out. All right. I mean, you can read, you can read more of this, but I just wanted to get that little bit of history. All right. Because the Puritans, boy, you had the nerve to call yourself a Puritan. Okay. You're the pure ones, right? Give me 1 second here. So let's go back to the video and listen to a little bit more.
Many Christian values.
You want to comment on the Christian values part?
Yeah, you definitely don't. You definitely don't practice "thou shalt not murder." So there's that.
Yeah, it's like.
And you definitely don't practice loving your neighbor as yourself. There's that as well.
And
scriptures say, "Love worketh no ill to his neighbor." The history of Christianity is not rooted in love here in America. Remember, it was established by Edomite Christians, right?
At the very end of this, I don't know if you saw it. He said, "See you in." What was it? Valhalla?
Yeah, Valhalla. Yeah, his last sentence.
Yeah, the very last sentence of this. I'm not going to go there now, but he says that. The very last sentence. So he doesn't believe in the afterlife, but he's like referring to Norse mythology there, where heroes who were supposed to be slain in battle or received but I mean, imagine saying you practice Christian values where heroes who were supposed to be slain in battle or received or it's like this place of happiness and glory. So he does say that, but it seems like kind of like almost euphemistic. But I mean, imagine saying you practice Christian values while murdering innocent people.
Right.
That is that is your history. That's the history of Christianity in America. Right? So they're able to separate that. But anytime some nigga pops up and does something crazy and we say, well, we don't teach that. He ain't got nothing to do with us. We condemn his actions. Nope. They continuously link him with us. So we're going to link this guy with y'all.
And I think this is something that we need to stress because, definitely we come across this in dealing with Hebrews and just, the conscious community at large. I don't know how many times we have to say to people that, he himself, he's admitting that he's not a Christian, but I don't know how many times we have to say that if you do not follow the teachings of Jesus the Christ, right? If you don't follow the doctrines of the Bible, if you don't practice Orthodox Christianity, you're not a Christian, okay? You're not a Christian. I'll say it.
We don't have that, I can't think of the word. We don't have the comfort to just say whenever these cats that y'all put on y'all videos, we don't have that privilege to just say, well, they ain't practicing. They're not true Hebrew Israelites. They're not out teaching. They haven't fully repented. Okay, what they did are actions we condemned. We don't have the ability to say that when these cats do this stupid stuff. Right? I mean, y'all will go into his social media and, oh, wow, he said shalom. He's an Israelite. This is what Israelites do. Oh, my God, the threat of Hebrew Israel, they're going to kill us.
Like threes. You're not a Christian. Okay. And so I know I saw that a lot of, there were some comments here and there, even on the channel Vocab of Hebrews coming in and trying to associate this individual with Christianity. Primarily, probably because he's white, but primarily as well because they.
Boy, these kind of so-called black women, and you so-called black women who believe when we get on wicked women, you gotta get to a point where if you supposedly repentant, this shouldn't apply to you, right? Goodness gracious! Like if I hear a group of women talking about how so-called black men. All right, or flaming, the down low brothers. Like, why would that make me mad? It's true. You got a lot of men who are in that spirit. Act like they're family men, but on the low, they go and they lay with men. If that doesn't apply to me, why would I try to protect black men at that point, so-called black men? Well, what about the women? Nah, it's true. These kind of women are going to be destroyed by Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, point blank, period. And the majority of our women side with the enemy. But they're going to side with the religion that was used to destroy and crush them, man.
Secondarily, because they just hate Christianity. To be clear, he is not a Christian, okay? A Christian did not commit these acts. And even if he did say that he was a Christian, we can declare and decree, sir, no, you're not.
But we can't do that. You see the hypocrisy of these people? Let's get the scriptures. The joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment, man. Let's get that scripture. I believe that's Job. Job chapter 20:4. Knowest thou not this, since the days of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? This is open hypocrisy, man. I mean, anything you can find to link to the Israelites, you're able, you do it. And when we say, well, we teach against that, we'll even show ourselves on video saying we say not to do this stuff. Y'all still try to push it out there as if we teach to do these things. But the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment. You see? Let's get this other scripture. This came to my mind as well. Now, this is dealing with Rome, but we know America is the fulfillment of Rome being born back into the earth. Okay, America is Rome all over again. This is 2nd Ezra 11:39. Are not that it that remaineth of the four beasts whom I have made to reign in my world? Okay, and the final beast that's going to rule is the fourth beast, but it's the little horn. Okay, the little horn in Daniel the 7th chapter is Babylon the Great, America. All right, the NATO and the EU. Okay, that's the final heathen rulership. Okay, and what you've done in the planet Earth was prophecy. All right, as they call it, divine, manifest destiny. Well, you were prophesied to do what you did. It's just that you've lied so much that now your narrative being challenged. All right, you want to label that terrorism as well when you're the terrorist, buddy. Okay, the two biggest terrorists on the planet Earth are on that video right now. Okay, it says Esau and Eve. It says, are not thou it that remainest of the four beasts who I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? And the fourth came, the Roman Empire, and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. Okay, this is Esau's blessing, the fatness of the earth, and lived by the sword, and so long time dwelt upon the earth with deceit. You Edomites have dwelt upon the earth with deceit, man. For the earth hast thou not judged with truth, for thou hast afflicted the meek, thou hast hurt the peaceable, thou hast loved liars, and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit. This is what Christian Edomites have done historically, and has cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. All right. And then when the descendants of the people you did that to raise up, a remnant of them raise up and separate from your ass in your religion. OK, now it's a problem. But if we were Lil Wayne and bugged out with tattoos all over our face, our women, promoting whoredom and doing all of that, then that would be cool. Nobody's going to those people telling them to stop. But we got to stop, coming into who we are and calling on the names of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua and keeping the laws to the best of our ability. That's a threat to Edomite supremacy, because Edomite supremacy, okay, is based upon the Israelites being in a docile, low space and in a box of lies pertaining to who they are. Remember, all of these nations came together to cut us off from being a people, man. It says, therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up to the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty. The highest have also looked upon the proud times, the pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, you Edomites, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. Okay, and that's going to happen, okay, as we know the Roman Empire fell, but it was revived, okay, through America. It started at the Renaissance period. And what did they do? They just start lying, man. They start lying, conquering, all right, and prophecy was fulfilled. That's all. But there's another side to everything you've done. As it says in Isaiah the 47th chapter, you Edomites didn't think of the latter end of your actions. Okay? And now your government and your elites are done with Christianity. They're promoting science and Satanism now. And now you don't hear a peep out of, well, you hear some little peep from some little Christians popping up on the internet, watching us and then trying to go and act like they came up with certain revelations on their own, whatever. But guys like Vocab Malone, they're not standing up against the alphabet agenda. Where's his opinion on the whole, my body, my choice abortion thing? What's what would Jesus do? Okay? So your times are getting ready to be ended, man. Okay? Rome fell. Now this modern day Rome is going to fall, but it's going to fall by fire. Okay? And at that point, man, the earth is going to rejoice. You goddamn hypocrites.
We can declare and decree, sir, no, you're not.
Yeah, check this out. It's weird. He capitalizes the pronoun for deity. So I don't know if he's read the King James or what, but like that's a kind of an older thing. That's sort of a reverential way. I don't do it. I don't capitalize the pronoun. What I mean for the pronoun, I mean the personal pronoun him. He's got to capitalize. But notice, right where he says he believes there's no afterlife, yet look down here. It's really weird. He says there's no afterlife, and then he says, I wish all Jews to hell. So, I mean, it looks like he doesn't really believe it, but it's interesting.
And if you go to, I'm not going to play it, but brother's been passing around this video, the Ku Klux Klan. That's their mindset, all right? And they, too, are Christians. It's a Christian organization. Can't get around that. Okay? Your belief system stems from Edomite supremacists who use their religion, all right, to conquer, okay, and deem people subhuman and not even human, okay, and create legislation to just do whatever the hell you want, which is prophecy. We get it. But see, you all don't want to deal with the there's ramifications. All right, and that's where we at. This is what we're here to prophesy. You Edomites are going to pay. And all people who side with them, you are going to lose. Okay?
This guy that doesn't believe in the afterlife, doesn't believe in God, doesn't ask for salvation, doesn't confess sins. He tells Jews, go back to the hell where you came from, demon.
Yeah. And it's funny, again, this is later on in the manifesto. He capitalizes deity, but then towards the end, he says God he writes God several times, and it's lowercase g. I noticed that as well. So, yeah.
And he says, I am a fascist. Yes, fascism is one of the only.
You see how they're trying to separate their religion and the history of their religion from what this guy did? You can't do it. Shalom.